What's going on, everybody? In this video here, I want to talk about a Bitcoin miner that I've touched on recently and actually gave you guys some false information. So I'm going to clear that up. We're going to take a look at a couple of things here on Iris Energy, as well as a look at the chart, and I am planning on making a purchase. And this will be my second miner that I'll add to my portfolio. To me, CleanSpark is still a top miner. To me, that's my top pick for Bitcoin miners, but I do want a little bit of a diversification. I'm already overextended on CleanSpark, and rather than just buying more, because I do want to buy some more Bitcoin mining stocks, rather than just buying more of what I already have, I want to de-risk a little bit and get into another Bitcoin miner stock that I see a bright future for. So let's take a look at Iris Energy. IREN is the ticker. And first off, I want to clear something up. I mentioned that they had debt, and for me that was a major concern. Well, that was some data that I pulled off of Yahoo Finance going over their last earnings. And side note, we do have another earnings coming up, and I'll mention that here in a second. But I wanted to clear this up. In their mining update before last, so their June mining update, we had this statement here under their corporate update. The company remains well capitalized with 64 million in cash, no debt. So they are debt free as of 2 mining updates ago. I think that is fantastic to see, and I apologize for giving you guys some false information. Now, I also want to mention with this company, I've mentioned a few other things on Iris, so consider checking out my last video going over it in a little more detail. But one thing they expect is they have an expansion plan to 9.1 exahash per second, and that is expected in the beginning of 2024. So not by year end, but in the beginning of 2024. And also, they're currently mining at a 5.6 exahash. So keep that number in mind here. And to compare my highest conviction top pick Bitcoin miner, CleanSpark, they're currently at a $751 million market cap as of today, and they're mining right around 9 exahash. So right around double what Iris Energy is mining, but Iris Energy is only about a third in market cap. So I think that's very encouraging to see that this company, valuation wise, just looking at hash rate alone, compared to other miners, they're at such a lower market cap compared to the hash rate that they're producing. And another thing I really like about Iris Energy is they don't only mine in the US. They do have a plant in Texas, but they also have quite a few plants in Canada. And Canada, from what I understand, is a bit more pro-Bitcoin than the US. That being said, I'm not too worried about Bitcoin miners that only mine in the US, but this does add a little bit of safety in my opinion. The fact that they don't only mine in the US. Over the next couple of months, maybe these spot ETFs actually get denied or get, thrown out and not just delayed. And that could bring some more fear into the US Bitcoin miners. So I do think it's an added positive that Iris Energy does not only mine in the US, but they also mine in Canada as well. And I did want to add that it does say that they are 100% renewable energy usage. However, approximately 3% of that 100% is due to the purchase of RECs, or renewable energy credits. So they aren't necessarily mining at 100% renewable energy. They are purchasing offset credits essentially to get that number. Now, I do want to mention that we have an important date coming up, and this is going to be towards the beginning of September, mid-September. This isn't an accurate date, but it should be around this time. Somewhere around September 12th should be their next earnings. And knowing that, I will be starting a small position and slowly DCAing through earnings. I think that's a good way to go considering how kind of fearful things have been recently, just in case we do drop further. And looking at Iris Energy on the charts, just like many Bitcoin miners, they found their lows at the end of last year. And it's crazy to think that it's already almost been a year since. To me, 2023 has just flown by. I can't believe how fast this year has gone. And these guys were at the dollar area at the end of last year. They ran up nearly to $8. They did just about an 8x before finally really cooling off here. And now they're sitting at half of their recent high. They're sitting at like $4 right now. And despite that, to me, the chart is still bullish. However, if it does keep dropping, it will become more and more bearish. But we are very close to oversold on the RSI. It went from being very overbought to now nearly being oversold, hovering around oversold. The MACD looks like it's about ready to flip, and we are still trending above the 200 MA. We saw our golden cross back in April of 2023. The 200 MA is still pointing in an upwards direction, as well as the 50, but I don't want to see this sell off much more. Otherwise, we will start seeing those MAs curl downwards, and that would be the first negative sign, besides of course breaking the 50 MA. And looking at the EMAs, we're looking a little bit worse there. We are under all three. And zooming in, you can see that the 100 is very close to breaking the 200, and it just recently flipped in the beginning of August. So it flipped bullish in the beginning of August on the EMAs, at least, when talking about the 100 and 200. However, now they look like they're about to flip back. The EMAs are all starting to point down, and this may be part of what's bringing more fear, of course, along with Bitcoin falling off. This is the main reason, obviously, why these miners have sold off so much, is because of Bitcoin going from 30,000 to right around 25,000. And as a side note, I do think 25K will be very important to watch for Bitcoin. It's played out previously as a very strong resistance, and we'll see how it holds out as a support. And you know, this chart structure looks very similar to CleanSpark's. They had a resistance similar to CleanSpark, having a resistance right at that 520 area multiple times. Same thing with Iris, but right around 450. And we may find it as a resistance here. So that's one thing I'm watching for. If we can break 450, I might go in with some calls. But I'm looking forward to earnings. They're expecting some very nice revenue growth. They're expecting $34 million in revenue, which is very nice revenue growth from their last earnings. They reported $11 million. So just about a 3x in revenue. That is, if they can hit it. But let me know what you guys think about Iris Energy. And do you have some other Bitcoin miners that you think I should consider buying? I do think overall there are many Bitcoin miners that will do fantastic as Bitcoin starts running up to the halving, and in some cases the smaller the market cap the better, because it can mean a bigger move when money does flow into the space. But you do want to be careful. Look for companies that have little to no debt. Look for companies that are consistently increasing their hash rate. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.